Welcome to the Chasing Brighter podcast.
The podcast created as a guide to make midlife the best life.
Are you ready to embrace the next chapter of your life with confidence and excitement? Your best life is just a listen away.
Welcome back. And today we are celebrating you.
And we're reflecting on everything you've grown through in 2025. Big wins, small wins, micro wins, quiet wins. You know, we want to kind of take a look back at the year. This is not, did I do enough as you think about it?
Just reviewing the year with compassion. What helped me grow? What did I learn? What lit me up? Like you're saying, not to judge yourself and question, I did the worst, what happened, but really, from a positive lens. So grab a notebook and we want to explore the bright list exercise. So this is an opportunity to write 3 different lists, okay? A list what I'm proud of, a list what I want to release, and a list what I want to expand. So, if we took a moment and you and I just listed 1 or 2 things on each of this, what is something that you're proud of?
I am proud of, I took on a new challenge of my self-defense training. So I'm really proud of myself for that.
Yeah.
How about you?
Oh, so we're talking physical too. That reminds me, right? Yeah. Starting challenging myself physically with Orange Theory, doing double classes. Yes. And I'm proud of investing time in my clinical practice and launching a podcast to support my career goals.
Yeah, that's really awesome.
What do you want to release?
So I am really trying to release overscheduling and finding more quiet moments, those micro moments that we talked about in a lot of our episodes this year. And so just release the things that I should do. I've really been spending a lot of time during my meditation, a couple days a week, because I'm still practicing that, but really just releasing the load of some things. You're in a moment. You can only do what you can in these moments.
I would like to release judgment, negativity, and resentment. I think I can go to resentment really quickly in my marriage and in some friendships. And then I can get clicked into a negative mode where I just bitch about other people. And I don't like when I do that because I've grown from that. I want to release all of that. And then if we shift to what we want to expand, I would like to expand joy and presence in my life. How about you?
I don't need those 2 things.
Okay. I'm already perfect. Hey.
Yeah, right? No, when I think about expanding, it's really leaning in more to things. And so, for me, I feel like that is probably spending more time on this podcast, Jess, too. I know that you really take the heavy load of it. And so I think for next year, I really want to expand, putting more time in to help you out too. The other thing is, when I think about what I want to expand, it's what I want to do more of. And so when I think about it that way, I feel again, I really need to put fitness first. Not first, but I really want to make physical fitness, moving my body, more of a priority, because I feel I've gotten into a routine of it. But now I want to really up the intensity. I think I learned that because when we went snowboarding as a family, and I was so exhausted and I had a really hard time keeping up with the kids. And it really shook me because it's I want to make sure I can do that. That's important to me. So really kind of expanding, coupling, I guess, spending time with my family and the physical activity stuff.
I hear you. But also, anytime we start anything new, that's not a level of your fitness, right? So if I went hiking right now and wasn't good at hiking, that doesn't mean that my fitness routine isn't good. That means I need to improve my hiking ability.
Fair enough. That's true.
That's why I think it's hard to, I think for your oldest, when you're at the top of your game and all these things, and then you go
try
snowboarding and then you're not immediately great at it, it's can be frustrating because you're So I think that's what you experienced too. And he's in peak physical condition,
Yeah.
but you're like, oh my God, I'm not automatically great at that. And even my daughter, who is a snowboarder and is an athlete and has a trainer that works out all the time, she was so sore for 2 days after snowboarding
Yeah.
too. So
Yeah.
I just want to say, I mean, I know what you're saying, but also I think that's what's so amazing as you tried something new,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
Because you never did it and then you're not good at it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like golfing because I suck at it. And I don't like, because then I'm like overwhelmed, because then I'm like, oh my God, now I have to train and do better because you and I are really competitive. And so what if we're not good at something?
Yeah.
Then we immediately like judge ourselves and want to get better.
Yeah.
But I've let go of golf. I'm like, this isn't, I don't want to start over at something that I suck
Yeah.
at.
Yeah. Well, so you don't want to expand your golf game.
No, but there are things like, you know, like when I think that's why I love weightlifting, because it's so easy to be like, oh, okay, now I can lift 20-pound dumbbells and I can lift 25. You know, like it's a quicker progression, you know?
I guess even in terms of like emotional or like mental mindset for me, I really want to expand on. I've done a lot of work on not taking things personally. And I think I want to really continue to focus in on that because I feel like I have the tools in place. And, one of the things we talk about, which everything is a practice. And I can't wait for some of my practices, like really working on it, taking these personally, become just human. I would say just like human nature, right? They
Yeah.
just happen. It becomes
Right.
part of who you are.
Right.
And so, that's definitely something I want to be doing
Yeah.
next year.
Absolutely.
So this conversation, I know we kind of got off track, but again, this is like, what do you want? What are you proud of? What do you want to release? And what do you want to expand? So let this be your foundation for 2026. No resolutions, just intentions.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we couple this with some journal prompts of some things for you to think about. The first one is, what surprised you this year? So something that really surprised me this year was, Wes started high school last year, and I was like really so anxious about him academically and everything else. And I was really focusing on making sure he kept his grades up and he was prioritizing academics. I feel like he was kind of blowing things off. And it was exhausting for me. It is exhausting to, when you have a child who is struggling to be in that space. One of the things that really surprised me this year is my child matured
Yeah.
and I haven't needed to do that. And what surprised me is I didn't know what to do with myself. I was amazed. It is amazing when you go through very difficult times and when that difficult time kind of goes away, how much more mental space you have. And so I think that was something that really surprised me this year.
I'm probably going to get emotional right now, but the next question is, what healed you this year? And this question like triggers me. I think when our friends hear this podcast or people hear the podcast, it's like you and I have it all together, right? We're like giving tips and tools. But I feel like 2025, I regressed a lot. I feel like I regressed a lot in thinking patterns, in some of my behaviors, which I know aren't like a big deal to people, but just like with my kids in travel ball, it can get toxic about texting negatively or gossiping or things that I've really worked really hard on. I think in my partnership and in my marriage, I'm in my head with some resentment patterns and just some of the things that I'm like, oh, like when you were saying, oh, I look forward for these tools to be implemented.
Yeah.
And it's like, I was there and I feel like there have been times where I'm really living in love and light and the flow. And I think I've taken a step back. Also, I know I'm incredibly hard on myself. I'm very, very, very hard on myself. But I feel, and maybe it's just the latter half of the year. But I think in my goal and my spiritual self, I think I'm overwhelmed because I think there's a lot of work. I think things have cropped up for me and there's a lot of work I need to do. And I know you and I have also talked, like the climate of America right now is very overwhelming for me, and it
Yeah.
weighs heavy on me
Mhm.
too, and that's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And so I think, but that doesn't mean there aren't, just because I'm saying that doesn't mean there aren't good things happening. Like we've talked before about choosing joy, and I can lock it away and choose joy. I feel very happy. I feel very joyful. I feel very blessed. But that doesn't mean my life is perfect. Does that make sense? It doesn't mean I don't have
Well,
work to do.
I think it's interesting just because I feel like you've been doing so much work on your like your health,
Right.
right? Your physical health. And in some ways I question like, like we only have a certain piece of the pie. So it's like when we focus on certain things, other things suffer
Yeah,
kind of thing, which
absolutely.
kind
Yeah.
of again, we don't have it all.
Yeah.
And there always is going to be something
Yeah.
there that
Right.
doesn't
Like when
shake
we
out the
look,
way
we
you want
like the
to.
legend planner and it's broken up in 8 slices. And so it's like, for me, career, family, and health are really strong. But then it's like, oh, spiritual, finances, friendships, maybe
Yeah.
I'm not seeing my friends like I used to, or feeling as connected. It's like
Yeah.
trying to get all of those 8 slices to kind of
It
work
is
together.
so hard. It is so
Absolutely.
hard. And
Yeah.
I think also, I don't know if you feel this way, but I also feel like since COVID, I'm going to call that is like, I really want a slower pace. And so, um, I think for me, like, so our questions so far were what surprised you this year? What healed you this year? And the next one is what felt aligned.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, what feels aligned is when I slow down or when I stop doing certain things and like spending time kind of in the quiet moments of
Right.
stuff, like no sound, no TV, no noise, no anything, and just really kind of being. And I'm finding that that really helps me keep aligned. I need these quiet moments. I really did focus on drinking my coffee in the morning and like not turning on TV or like just sitting in these quiet moments because that is, I think, what helps kind of keep me grounded.
Yeah.
Think about what has you have felt aligned with. And, these are things I think what's challenging too is maybe it's also, I think, just to your point, is like when did I not feel aligned? You know?
Yeah.
Um, and the other question that we have would be like, what
What do
do
you
you want
want
to do
more
more
of?
of?
And
Yeah.
I think for me, like talking about that like spiritual piece, it's probably meditation. I was good earlier in the year. My Pilates studio has those sound bowl meditations, and going to the different moon ones and going to different things and tapping into what a good spiritual practice for me. We really resonated with in Glennon Doyle's book Untamed, when she talked about tapping into your
Yeah.
knowing. And so like giving myself more opportunities of quiet meditative times and seeing what that's like. But this year's been really funky for me too, because I turned 47. I don't like 47. I feel close to 50 and that I'm basically dead. So I'm basically dead at this point. And I talked to mom about it. And I said, did you have a hard time aging? Was there ever? And she said that she remembers like the big ones, like 40 not bothering her, but 45 really bothered her.
Well, I feel like that's what a lot of people, my observation of like approaching 50 is once you turn 50, it's not the problem. Once you turn it, it's not the problem. It's the approaching part.
Yeah.
And I definitely feel that way. And I think even going back to the whole snowboarding thing is
Right.
like, oh man, I'm aging. I think it's like, I still see myself as like this 26, 27-year-old person.
Right.
And I'm not.
Yeah.
And like facing that realities of
Yeah.
stuff is hard.
Yeah, it like gets you. And with my daughter being a senior, I go through
Yeah.
rabbit holes of like, she's
But
never living with us again.
I'm
Life
guessing
is
that
never the same.
part of it for you, I wonder too, is just feeling like, because you know that that's coming, and there's this little bit of like you're out of alignment, knowing that that's going to be happening.
Yeah, and it's
kinda like
weird
weighing.
because I want my kids, like I want this I want
Yeah.
her to go live life, travel, go away. I don't have any kind of vision of my children. Like I'm not like, oh, you need to go do this,
Be a
be
farmer
this,
in
live here, go
Peru.
do. Yeah, I'm like, I tell her all the time, like applying to college purposes, you have to like choose a purpose and write an essay based on this stuff. But I don't care. Go to college and change your major 25 times. I don't care. Like go live your life. I want you to, because you and I got to move to a whole different place and experience a whole new life and go away to college. And that changed my life forever. And so you don't have to do that to have your life change, but I'm open to that if that's their journey. So I want that for her. But I think it's more, how they talk about a main character versus a sidekick energy. I feel like aging is like I'm going from the main character to becoming a sidekick. You know what I'm saying? Where it's not about me anymore. It's a very, that's how I'm verbalizing it, where you're like, you're not important anymore. Now it's your kids and now they're living their life and they're experiencing their life and I'm just starting to die.
So if you're still listening on this episode, I think the one thing is don't listen to Jesse, but
I know that's irrational, but I'm saying those are fleeting thoughts where you spiral, right?
I think one of the things we talk a lot about is like life is messy. As we think back through 2025, even for us, like we do these amazing episodes, we spend so much time thinking about intentionally what we want to talk about each month and how we want to focus on that and share it with our listeners. But we're just there every step of the way with all of you that like life is messy. We're not perfect. We still forget about all the things that we talk about on these episodes ourselves. Yeah. And, I think maybe that's when we talk about what do we want more of? Like we want more of this stuff, right? Just like keep reminding ourselves about gratitude, about finding joy, about self-care.
Well, I think it's important that we're vulnerable too. I just, again, I love giving advice and talking about this. And it's like in my clinical practice, right? I'm this expert. I'm this emotional expert that sits with my clients and guides them. But I'm messed up too, right? I have problems too, and I have things I need to work on too. And I think when we share these episodes, again, I don't want it to be like, oh, listen to us. We're so, I want we're in the trenches with you too. And I think it's an opportunity. I don't think it's negative that I'm crying. I don't think it's negative that I have things I want to work on. I think this is like we've talked about before, like the difference between a growth mindset and a victim mindset is a victim mindset is why me? And you're sitting in it. And a growth mindset is what can I learn from this?
Yeah.
And so I don't think of this as negative. I'm like, oh my gosh, let me look at 2025 and what didn't feel good. What felt great? What do I want more of? What do I want less of? And so we know that you are growing with us. And so thank you for being with us in this growth. And thank you for growing with us this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a really great way to think about it though, Jess, is it's like, that whole idea of what did I get? What did I grow and get better at? And maybe sometimes I had to get just uncomfortable to get comfortable. And what are some things that I still need to work on?
Absolutely.
That I still want to focus on. Even for me, my anxiety is, it's always there. And recognizing it is half the battle a lot of the time. Really in family moments, stressful moments, especially with family, even with work, I notice it creeps in too. And so I think for me, just continuing to take a step back from things. I actually had a really stressful work season, right? Especially toward the second half of the year. And I actually one day I just logged off everything and I spent an hour just relaxing and quiet. I think sometimes when I get so wrapped up in stuff, like it's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's very emotionally inefficient for me since I'm all about efficiency.
Well, you are. And also, I think you and I talk a lot about longevity. And even though I have my spirals of I'm half dead, like I do also, I think we've had great role models for older women in our lives. And I do feel positive and exciting about the aging process at the same time.
If you're also, just so you know, I mean, you said you're half dead. That means maybe you're going to live to 94.
Well, because we talked about, we read the book, I think season 1, listeners. We read the book 4,000 Weeks. We have an average, so we lived an average age of 80. And so that's why when I spiral, I'm like, well, I'm 47. So, but none of us are getting out of here alive. And I think then that brings me back to living life to the fullest. That's why I've switched a little bit more to a YOLO mentality a little bit too, of like, right? Like this is my one life. And so, that's why I want to like live it all and get the most out of it too. And so I think with that, it's exploring how to improve myself.
I mean, I think 2026 is 100% that for me, Jess, is really about, enjoying life.
Yeah.
And finding things that are fun and doing things. But to your point about not being the main character in your life.
Yeah.
I feel like that is what like we have to focus on is like we are still the main character in our lives. And like we want to focus on ourselves and like these kids are going to start peeling off and doing their own thing. And so we have to let them do that, right? And figuring out ways. I think it's really an exciting time. I feel like we put in so much work, a lot of us in our lives, that we're turning the corner on a part that we can start to slow down, start to enjoy things a little bit more, and not feel so rushed and not such feeling like we're in like the rat race.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So thanks for growing with us this year. I know Jessie already mentioned that, but I want to thank you all too. So we want to raise a glass to say, cheers to a grounded, meaningful, intentional 2026 and really wish you all a very happy and healthy new year.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy New Year.
Thanks for listening today.
If you loved today's episode, share with a friend. Are you ready to chase brighter days ahead? Subscribe to Chasing Brighter now, and let's embark on this exciting journey together.